same place. And here, that involves headset to make sure that they're there. As soon as they say they're aligned, the starter can start them. But it's up to the coxswains to be pointed. And here's the
Great look off
referee
the start
coming
here.
in right behind.
So
on
from
this.
the left to the right side of your screen, it's as written in our thing. Lane 1, George Washington. 2, Washington State. 3, Orange Coast College. 4, Rutgers. 5, Minnesota, who had the hot start, but now OCC is back up. Michigan State in lane 6. And all crews overlapping, not for long. OCC is trying to assert themselves as early as possible.
And Cameron, the Orange Coast coach, told us when we were talking to him earlier, he thinks he has a really good crew this year. As we've said before, if you've been listening to us, Orange Coast is a junior college, so it's freshmen and sophomores in that program, and usually the Varsity 8 that they put out is 8 sophomores. A lot of those guys will go on to race other places, but these are some of the better kids maybe out of Southern California and some other places now who just need a couple of years at a junior college level either to still stay at home or to get their education on the right track to go to colleges where they want. But that's an explosive start. I mean, here we are a minute and 15 seconds into this, maybe still 400 meters, and Orange Coast has a full length already.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to assume they don't know Purdue's time yet. I think they're going to try and close it as close to that 6-minute, 6:05 mark as they can. Like yesterday, they were also 6:10 in line with Purdue's heat. I think they want to show that they are not second banana. They are here to compete to win ACRAs. And this is Minnesota is taking the early second place spot. It is 2 to progress to the grand final, 2 to progress to the petite final, the remaining 2 crews to the C final. So it is oh my gosh,
but
it is such a close
not
margin.
unusual necessarily for those crews that aren't in the middle 2 lanes to throw something.
Yeah.
First of all, they may actually be faster than the other crew, and just the way that things have sorted out. If they've had raced Purdue, and if they raced, in their depending on who they had in their heat, they may not have sort of shown the full speed that they have. Minnesota. Coached by a very good long-time Eastern Sprint coach, Scott Armstrong, who is at Dartmouth for quite some time, did really well there, and now is in Minnesota, has been taking over and building their program. Very clearly, Minnesota, who's turned out a number of Olympians on the men's side from the club program, has the ability to have some really good crews. But what you don't know, to circle back into what I was trying to say earlier before we sing the very worthy praises of Scott Armstrong, is that if you're not sure, I mean, you're going to throw it. If you're going to make the final, if you're a borderline 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th finish, you have to actually race hard today.
Yeah, you got to pull out all the
This
stops.
is the hard pit where you've got to make sure that you're getting through right now, and that Minnesota crew is looking pretty solid and nice and amazing. Orange Coast, having asserted their dominance, looks to me to be going hard, but not really killing itself to get out in front. They're just letting their natural hull speed going, and slowly by bit taking a little bit there. But there is Minnesota just moving at this point right now. Moving out over Rutgers.
Washington State is answering in that second lane.
In the second lane, Washington State is up there. Rutgers now actually also in the middle, starting, and that's who you would expect to see there, right? But there's a great race going there, and they saw each other, I think, at the GW Invite.
Yeah.
I don't remember who won that, but I think it was Rutgers who beat them, and that may be a complete AI fantasy that I just made up in my head.
Faster than you expect. They're way past the 1250. They're charging into the 1500 meter mark. Rutgers
and Washington State is up in there as well.
That we expect out of them, but Minnesota's holding on to that league. I think responding, like you said earlier, trying to get out of that middle of the pack, throw something so that they can just establish themselves. And now if they are, I think this Cox is doing her absolute best to keep this crew up in the
Minnesota, though, there's the 500 meter to go mark back where you can see on the far shore.
Minnesota
holding this lead. Rutgers tried to put a push, and it didn't necessarily
And now they're getting
work.
pushed by Michigan State.
But Washington State is coming out
And they're going to put a
on
move
the other
on
side. They're
Minnesota
trying
right
to put
now.
a move right now,
Our line
and
of
they're
sight.
going to come through where we can absolutely see where they are. Orange Coast open water ahead. Minnesota
Just barely over
3
Washington
seats,
State.
2 seats over Washington State. It looks like Rutgers threw what they had to try and get back up, and it didn't work. Maybe Michigan State will kick them off. Michigan State had a very, very good novice crew
They
last
did.
year, and now
But now
they're
Washington State's overtaking Minnesota every other stroke. I see them passing through that line of buoys just barely before, but in between those puddles, Minnesota's surging back in. That's going to come down to a photo finish unless somebody does
It's going to see
something about it.
who has the sprint there.
This decides grand final versus petite final for these two crews.
And they're moving back up into Orange Coast there. It does look to me like we are going to get Washington State. Well, I don't know.
I don't know.
We pull this
Gophers
and Minnesota
coming back
Golden
for it.
Gophers there. You can see the finish line
I think
up there
Minnesota's going to take this
on the
back.
top. And it does look like Minnesota is pushing. Again, this all depends for us on the angle of
but Washington State's making the last few strokes count.
Oh my!
Oh.
So there's Orange Coast.
Wow.
It's gonna be that is I think it's Washington State over Minnesota.
Rutgers holds on for the
Rutgers
petite
comes
final.
on to fourth for the petite final, but that is definitely gonna be a photo finish.
That's
and
why
a
they're not
check.
posting the times.
They are taking their time
Too
to
fast.
check on
Got past the
what
radar.
that was. Absolutely. And we had okay, breathe, guys. So we'll see. We had a 6:05.